Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Dose. So a couple of exciting things happened today, one for Xbox and then something for Nintendo as well. I mean, if you're an Xbox fan and if you have Game Pass, they absolutely unloaded today. You're going to have a crazy fun time this holiday, and for that matter, Game Pass is the gift that keeps on giving. Might be a hot item for anybody who enjoys a wide array of games. Then also Level 5 delayed several of their games, and while at first that might be a little disappointing, I understand that, but there's a little bit more to this topic because their reasoning with at least one game has the community buzzing on if they might have just let the Switch 2 release window slip. Yeah. Ready to get into all of that as well, so do stay tuned. But let's just go and jump right into things, starting off with an update for yesterday's big topic. Is Xbox really going third party? The Xbox CFO Tim Stewart yesterday made a very confusing comment that caused a lot of speculation that they might be going the way of Sega and move away from consoles. Like I said before, though, I really do believe that people misconstrued what he was actually attempting to say. Quite honestly, this is not the first time that we've heard Xbox say that they want Game Pass everywhere. That's not really news on its own. Again, I kind of think the problem here is how Tim Stewart worded things, or at the very least, how it was worded in this article. Either way, I do think the message was the issue in this case, but let's go ahead and listen to Phil Spencer regarding this topic, because I think his wording makes this whole situation a lot more clear.
For us, it's about expanding our platform reach. And we think important games like Starfield will be catalysts for Game Pass growth on a lot of different platforms. But anytime you're growing the platform, there's always this trade-off with games. We are not a third-party publisher, right? We do something different with our content like Starfield, but not all the content. Obviously, Minecraft ships on other platforms, and we enjoy doing that as well.
So there you go. Hopefully that clears some of the confusion up. You spelled it out nice and clear here. Xbox is not going third party. They will release certain games on PlayStation and Nintendo like Call of Duty and Minecraft. We know this, but I wouldn't hold my breath for other IP like Halo, Gears of War, Starfield, etc., to launch on competing consoles anytime soon. Now, if Nintendo and PlayStation wants to add Game Pass in the future, well, then we can kind of reapproach this topic then, but I really don't see that happening anytime soon either, because to them, Game Pass takes money out of their pockets and from their own ecosystems. Now, Sega, they also gave us an update for Sonic Superstars, and unfortunately in this case, they did admit that it's had a bit of a slow start. In their words, they said that it had a slightly weaker start than anticipated because the impact of other companies' major titles. Now, I think we all kind of know what he's referring to here. Of course, Sonic's biggest rival from the 90s, Croc. No, actually, it's Mario. Mario Wonder released on the exact same week, and I mean, it's not like we weren't telling Sega this well ahead of time. That there was plenty of signs that this might actually be a problem. Truthfully, they picked a bad release date, and I don't really know if there's any other way of describing the situation. Now, this isn't all bad news, though, because they did mention that Sonic typically sells the most during November and December, which does make a lot of sense. I imagine that Sonic is a hot holiday item for parents to pick up for kids, and plus, there has been this whole trend where Sonic goes on sale right around that Black Friday period. Last year, Sonic Frontiers was selling right around $30, and this year, the same thing happened with Sonic Superstars. So I do imagine that sales will pick up, but this is a problem that I think Sega needs to kind of address going forward. Sonic, yes, is a well-known IP, but you still can't ignore the competition. You do have to read the room a little bit here, and you also need to make sure the launch price meets fans' expectations. I'll go ahead and tell you what has met expectations, though, and actually, I'd say it even shattered expectations here. Xbox Game Pass. They just revealed December's lineup, and you know what? Let's just go take a look here. This includes Far Cry 6, Remnant from the Ashes, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Spirit of the North Enhanced Edition, SteamWorld Build, 10 Hearts, While the Iron's Hot, World War Z Aftermath, Clone Drone and Danger Zone, Remnant 2, Goat Simulator 3, and Against the Storm. I mean, this is an absolutely loaded lineup with big games such as Tomb Raider. You have Far Cry, and that's really highlighted by Remnant 2. I mean, this is a game that just released a few months back, and it is one of the better games to launch this year, which, that is saying a lot. This has been a great year. I think we all kind of know that. And Remnant 2 is definitely one of the reasons why. If you are unaware of what this game is, though, it is inspired by the Soulsborne genre, but it's also completely different. It's a third-person shooter created in Unreal Engine 5 with some procedurally generated levels. It's also a great cooperative game to pick up and play, and that's where I think that Game Pass really comes in. Now with its inclusion, you and your friends can all pick this game up and try it out together because you no longer have to convince everybody to buy it. And that is another thing about Remnant 2. I feel like because it's been such a stacked year, it's not necessarily gotten the recognition that it deserves, but now that it's available on Game Pass, it's going to reach a lot more people. Oh, and by the way, Remnant 2 is available to subscribers right now. So definitely go download that game and check it out yourself. And keep in mind that you can also download the first one as well. Beyond that, though, 10 Hearts is another one that caught my attention here. I haven't played this one yet personally, but I've been very curious about this game for quite some time. We've actually talked about this game on the channel several times in the past, and it's like this Lemmings-like puzzle game that attempts to mix in an emotional story of a genius inventor. It reviewed pretty well on most platforms when it released earlier this year. It has an 84 on Xbox, an 81 on the Switch, and a 76 on PC. But it seems like most people have yet to play 10 Hearts. If you look over on Steam, it only has 29 reviews with 93% recommending it. So a lot of people, yes, have missed out on this game. So if you are curious at all, you can go check out 10 Hearts on December 12th when it launches into Game Pass on both console and PC. I think this will be a good one to check out on the ROG Ally. Of course, though, you have to love those day one releases, and we got a couple of those, including a nice surprise here. The next game in the long-running SteamWorld series is launching directly in the Game Pass on December 1st, being SteamWorld Build. If you're into city building simulation type of games, then maybe give this one a try. I do like the art style here, and I understand a lot of people really enjoy this series and its world, especially SteamWorld Dig. Lastly, the other day one release is While the Iron's Hot. It'll be out on December 5th, and they say you'll step into the boots of a journeyman blacksmith on a quest to become a master and restore a ruined village along the way. Apparently, this isn't the kind of game where you wield the weapons because the island's troubles can all be solved with your wits and crafting moxie. So yeah, I don't know if this will be my type of game per se, but you know, that's the thing about Game Pass. There's all kinds of different games that you can try, and even if this game specifically doesn't grab you, you still have a lot of other games here. Again, this is a loaded lineup that offers a wide array of options, from big well-known franchises to smaller games like this, or even silly games like Goat Simulator 3. This is a fantastic lineup, and I really do feel like Xbox Game Pass has just been on fire pretty much since August of this year. If you're a subscriber, I think you've more than got your money's worth these past few months. In my opinion, it truly is the best deal in gaming. Now, we do have one other big story here because Level 5 Games delayed several of their titles that were planned for the Nintendo Switch this year. And okay, delays happen all the time, and you know that on its own isn't necessarily a big deal, but it's actually their reason as to why this is catching so much attention. So first, let's just kind of go over some of the new release dates. Megaton Musashi is now slated for March 25th of 2024. Inazuma 11 Victory Roads Beta is also planned for March as well, so you can check that out then. Then Deca Police, I know there's been a lot of excitement for this one. It does look rather interesting with its turn-based combat and its charming level 5 art style, but it's now planned for post-2024. I'm not really sure exactly what that means. Maybe late 2024 if everything goes according to plan. I'm thinking maybe its release date just isn't set in stone yet, and that's why they might be announcing it this way. I'm not really sure. And then Professor Layton and the New World of Steam is expected to be a 2025 release, which might not necessarily be what you were hoping to hear, but they did show us some new gameplay to kind of tide you over for the time being. It does look pretty good so far. I like the visuals, and I imagine a part of that is because this is not going to be a Nintendo Switch only title. With it being set for 2025, there is actually a realistic chance here that we're seeing one of the first Switch successor games, and that's the big story that we need to talk about. It's already a little suspicious that Level 5 is moving games like Deca Police into apparently post-2024. It was originally slated for 2023. And then on top of that, Fantasy Life I also got delayed to summer of 2024. And this is where things start to get really interesting, because their reason for the delay was this. Check this out. They said, we've already decided on a specific release date. However, for strategic reasons, we are keeping it to summer. So that is a very strange comment to make. And then to make matters even more curious here, at the end of the trailer for Fantasy Life I, it now shows supported platforms as the Nintendo Switch and apparently undecided platforms. And this is what's capturing the imagination of fans. On one side, it could just be referring to other unannounced platforms, Xbox, things like that. Or it could also mean that it's a cross-generation title for the Nintendo Switch and its successor, and they just can't make that public yet. And I mean, when you start to think about it, it is kind of strange how they're doing things here. They have a release date picked out, but they won't tell us. And they're also suggesting that it will come to at least one mysterious platform that they're not naming. Now, why won't they just give us that information now? And one theory is that they're waiting for Nintendo to first announce the Switch successor. With Level 5 being a Nintendo partner, there is a possibility that they have a rough idea as to when the Switch successor will release. In this case, they might know that it's planned for a summer 2024 release, but they do need Nintendo to first announce that themselves, and then they can kind of turn around and say, hey, Fantasy Life I is a launch Switch successor title. Then they can really ramp things up from there and hype this game up. It is a very Animal Crossing-like game with some Final Fantasy elements to it. Could be a fun title to pick up as a launch Switch successor game. And if that is actually Level 5's plan, I'd say that is a pretty smart idea. But for us fans, it does kind of add fuel to the fire that the Switch successor could maybe be a summer release, which runs from June 21st to September 23rd. Of course, though, I mean, all of this is just speculation for the time being. Nothing is confirmed until Nintendo says something themselves, hopefully early next year with a Nintendo Direct. But let me know what you all think about this. Could you see the Switch 2 as a summer release, or do you think all of this just means absolutely nothing? Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though. We're asked you all, have you played Beyond Good and Evil, and are you interested in the remaster? Of course, that just leaked out the other day, and I thought the results here was pretty interesting. Around 40% of you are interested in that remaster, with a very good portion who have not played the original, which that's exactly what you want to see coming from a remaster, especially one where we do know there is a sequel in development. Sure, it might take us another 10 years before we get there. We'll see what happens with all of that. But because it's taken such a long time to get this game out, a lot of people don't even really know what this franchise is. That's a big problem if you want this sequel to be successful. So yeah, I'm glad to see a lot of interest in this game, and I think what Ubisoft is doing here is very smart, but I'd actually say that they should take this a step further than that. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there, but what I think that they should do, release this game, sell it as you usually would, put it in your Ubisoft Plus service and all of that, but in the future, before that sequel comes out, and once the sell starts to dry up for this game, maybe put it in the Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, and that would really expose this game to a massive crowd, and it could garner even more interest for that sequel. That's something that I would like to see them do. Will they actually do it? We'll see about all of that, but I am glad to see there's a lot of interest in the remaster here, and hopefully people will enjoy it. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.